All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we are exploring something that absolutely blew my mind. We're looking at an incredible marvel of astrobiology and planetary engineering from the extreme ice-covered world of Kylos. Now, we normally think that to build an advanced civilization, you have to conquer nature, right? You gotta smelt metal, burn fossil fuels, pave over the environment. But Kylos flips the script. It shows us that true next-level technological advancement comes from harmonizing with the physical laws of your world, not fighting them. Just listen to this wisdom from native Kylosian Dr. Trishik. Let that sink in for a second. This single idea completely dismantles our earthbound brute force approach to engineering, and it really sets the stage for our entire analysis today. Instead of dominating their environment, these inhabitants use the planet's immense pressures and freezing temperatures to build things that, honestly, would seem like pure magic to us.
Starting off with Section 1, welcome to Kylos and the pressure boundary.
Look at the sheer scale of the hostility on this planet. We're talking about gravity that is 35% heavier than Earth's. Every step would be exhausting. Sea level pressure, 4.2 atmospheres. Surface temps sitting at negative 40 degrees Celsius. And the kicker, an outer crust made entirely of a solid ice shelf 30 kilometers thick. When you look at these crushing statistics, it makes total sense why human technology, stuff relying on heat, metal, and fire, would just instantly fail here. Metal conducts heat way too quickly, it would literally melt the very ice they stand on. So how do they compute? Let's move to Section 2, computers made of ice and their cryo-lattice network. Here on Earth, we're all about silicon chips, electron movement, and copper wiring, which, constantly battles resistance and heat. But the Kylos paradigm? It's an absolute revelation. Instead of fighting the cold with hot smelting, they use methane clathrate ice. Basically, that's methane trapped in water ice cages. By manipulating the ice under extreme pressure, they carve microscopic channels into it that never collapse.
And instead of electrons, they use organic salt ions. Imagine the presence or absence of these ions acting as a binary 1 or 0. By tweaking the concentrations of sodium, potassium, and magnesium, they can run multi-state parallel processing. So the crazy part is, they push these ion-rich brine solutions through the ice using microscopic acoustic pressure waves instead of electrical currents. Sure, it's slower than the speed of light, but it uses a tiny fraction of the energy, it's totally immune to electromagnetic interference, and, best of all, the ice is completely self-healing.
The way they interact with these computers is just wild. For them, data isn't some flat thing on a screen, it's a shape you can actually hear and feel. Because they evolved underwater, where sound travels about 5 times faster than in air, their language is inherently mathematical. To input commands, technicians literally sing multitonal clicks and whistles into water basins. This creates precise geometric Faraday waves on the water's surface, and acoustic sensors read those waves and translate them into data commands. How cool is that? All right, on to Section 3, powering the deep shelf, symphony of salt and cold. So imagine a suspended city hanging upside down below 30 kilometers of ice. You obviously can't use wind or solar panels down there, so how on earth do they keep the lights on? Well, they do it by harvesting the physical boundaries of their own world. They construct these massive columns plunging from the ice ceiling straight into the hypersaline ocean below. Since they can't use metal, they build them out of a boundary interface composite. They mix structural picrate ice with organic cellulose from deep-sea algae, and then reinforce the whole thing with woven carbon nanotube threads. The result is a non-metallic composite that has the tensile strength of steel, but acts as a perfect thermal insulator. Inside these vibrating columns sits what they call a reverse electrodialysis engine. Here's how it works. First, they collect fresh meltwater dripping down from the ice ceiling. Then, they draw up hypersaline water from the deep ocean and run the two streams right alongside each other. By passing these streams through alternating exchange membranes, the chemical potential difference generates a continuous voltage. And because the planet's geothermal vents are constantly heating the ocean and melting the ceiling, this cycle literally never stops. They've just brilliantly placed themselves right in the middle of the planet's natural geothermal convection loop. Which brings us to Section 4, supercavitation transit systems, the slipstreams. As Dr. Chick points out, friction is the great enemy of speed in the water. Trying to push a vehicle through high-pressure water takes an insane, almost impossible amount of energy. So to beat this friction, they created the slipstream capsule. This vehicle travels through pressurized ice tubes that connect all their underwater cities. But get this, they aren't just swimming through the water in these tubes. They use the supercavitation process.
First, the capsule uses a thermal projector to vaporize the water directly in front of it. Then, it blasts high-pressure gas from the nose cone. What happens next is amazing. The capsule travels completely enveloped inside the steam gas bubble. Because the hull is touching gas instead of heavy liquid, skin friction drag drops by over 99%. As it zips by, the cold water instantly collapses back, condensing the vapor into liquid in its wake. This trick lets them hit mind-boggling submerged speeds of 800 kilometers per hour. But traveling that fast inside a steam bubble? Yeah, incredibly dangerous if that bubble suddenly collapses. If things go wrong, the capsule's hull instantly deploys these micro-grooved hydrophobic lipid tiles that mimic deep-sea divers' skin. This creates a protective boundary layer of microscopic water vortices around the ship, totally preventing turbulent flow. It lets the vessel safely hit the brakes without being crushed to pieces. It's just a brilliant biological solution to a crazy high-speed physics problem. And finally, Section 5, Memory in Sound and Light, the Sonoluminescent Archive. To really grasp the great archive of Gondwana, you have to understand sonoluminescence. This is a real, actual physical phenomenon where acoustic waves are focused into a liquid which makes microscopic gas bubbles violently collapse. Right at the final stage of that collapse, the gas gets ionized, hits temperatures hotter than the surface of our sun, and shoots out intense pulses of light. They are quite literally creating light using sound. By mastering this, the Kylosians took a massive 50-meter sphere of heavy water gel and turned it into a glowing hard drive, the sonoluminescent memory core. Using acoustic waves, they trap microscopic bubbles of argon and xenon in this perfect 3D grid. To write data, they compress a bubble until it flashes with 10,000 Kelvin light, which optical sensors then read. To read the data, they just gently vibrate the bubble to decode its unique sonic signature. They are writing their history, their math, their star charts, into trapped self-healing stars of light and sound. Oh, and the storage density? A completely incomprehensible 100 exabytes per cubic meter. 3,000. Because this heavy water gel is perfectly stable and kept at a constant -5 degrees Celsius, this magnificent core has been active, self-healing, and completely unchanged for over 3,000 of their orbital cycles. There's no rusting metal, no degrading silicone, just pure harmony. Dr. Chi's words to Dr. Eris sum up their philosophy perfectly. We do not write our history in stone or metal. We write our history in sound and light trapped inside the ice. It is the only thing that lasts. It's such a powerful reminder that true advancement isn't about bending the universe to your will or conquering your environment. It's about finding deep, meaningful resonance with the rules of the world you actually inhabit. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought. Look around at the ways we generate power, build our cities, and construct our infrastructure here on Earth. What earthly walls are we stubbornly building against nature that we should instead learn to slide around?
Please like and subscribe.